Let's talk about another big hitter in the Canadian space before I move to some U.S. stocks. I want to talk about Canopy growth. They had a pretty disappointing. That might be understating understating it. They had a pretty disappointing Q4 earnings report on June 1, or so most think. Curious as to whether you have any thoughts on Canopy growth. They've made lots of promises to, finally reach positive earnings, non-GAAP style, right? And they can't even do that. We're not quite there yet. How did investors react? How did you react? Do you have thoughts on how they're dealing with their whole slew of problems right now?
Yeah. Canopy growth, the proof is in the pudding. And I do think Canopy has a pretty good management team. Their CEO came over from Constellation Brands, which of course is the major shareholder and a big partner with Canopy. And so, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they are on that path to get to positive adjusted EBITDA, not true profitability, but at least it's a move in the right direction. They're saying they're going to be able to do it by the end of fiscal 22, and I believe that I can't remember when their fiscal year ends, but I think that'll be sometime within the next year. Yeah. And let's assume that they do. If they do, that's a great step. It's the beginning step. They still have to get to positive cash flow, get to a positive GAAP bottom line, and Constellation Brands is going to be pushing for Canopy growth to do that. Now, the good thing about Canopy growth is back to what we've already been talking about, Olivia. Canopy growth is in an excellent position to jump into the U.S. market if the door opens. They have the option to buy acreage holdings. They have an option to buy a minority stake in TerraSend, I think it is. Of course, they have that relationship with Constellation Brands, which is just a huge winner in the premium beer market in the U.S. And so I think if there's any Canadian company that's in a strong position to capitalize on the opportunity, should it arise, if they can jump into the U.S. cannabis market, Canopy growth is it.
Totally. I know we've all been hanging on the edge waiting to see what happens with the acreage holdings, the potential for that acquisition. And they've been busy. They've got plans to acquire, I think it's Supreme Cannabis, by the end of this month, right? I think that could happen any day. And that company has some potential, perhaps maybe slightly better margins with their premium products, feeling a little, maybe slightly less of that pricing pressure than other players. But it might be too small to make a big difference at this point, right?
Yeah. I don't think the Supreme Cannabis deal moves the needle much for Canopy growth at all. It's not a super costly deal for the company. So, like you said, it can improve the margin somewhat, but not a big difference maker. The main thing to watch is what happens in the U.S.